Welcome to Hans Digital Learning Speaking, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my buddy, Dr. Curt Bonk, a genius in online education. A lot of keynotes together. One of the good ones that we did in Saudi Arabia. Sir Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the web, he was also a keynote speaker. I myself was a keynote speaker. Curt Bonk was a keynote speaker. Also, Wikipedia founder.
Jimmy Wales from Wikipedia was the keynote speaker. He flew in after his wife had a baby that day. He got on a plane and came to the conference, gave a speech, had lunch with us, and flew back home to see the baby.
Only 20% of the world uses the web.
Think about e-learning for just a moment. People question, is it going to stay? As a result, we're seeing these really interesting growth.
So it's time to stop the feuding between online and traditional education.
Now we have a new normal in education and training. New normal happened once after the World War I. Now, even with 9/11, there was a new normal. What kind of environment? Learning environment? Learners want a new normal. I did several webinars where Professor Chris did from Harvard. I think you connected with Sybil Line.
He's my co-podcast partner.
So we had students from Bangladesh, and we have students from United States, from kindergarten, elementary, middle school, high school, and some teachers here and there. So I did several webinars. And I have a television show which is called Hans Digital World on Fox 5 Plus Washington, D.C. And I interview many different people from different backgrounds about digital world. Because in 2014, I said that we are living in a physical world now, but around us, there's a digital world. So you're the citizen of two worlds. One is physical world, one is digital world. Now I feel good that it's really happened after the COVID. Before COVID, every country I go, they would say, is it going to work and all this? After COVID, they don't ask me this question. They said, how soon can I get this done? You see? So I wanted to know, what do learners really want in the new normal? So in the new normal, what they want, I found that they want something to do with very engaging. Can you see this, what I'm showing?
Yeah.
They want something very interactive. They want some very engaging. And they want it like device independent. Because they can use it, their computer, they can use their cell phone, their radio, whatever ways. It has to be platform, cross-platform, device independent. And they want that they can use it, they can have easily accessible, and people with disability can use it, like a Section 508 is a requirement. So it has to be accessible learning. They want something called single objective focus. You know the learning objectives, you have umbrella. You see this? This is an umbrella, right? So umbrella, what is the goal of the umbrella? Goal of the umbrella is to protect you from rain or sunshine. Each spoke of the umbrella, if you can think of as learning objectives. If you course, you must have a goal. Goal is a bigger thing, but each individual objective has to be performance-based. So I found in my survey of people over the COVID time they want something single objective focus, means just teach me one thing. That's for the micro-learning, to think that way. Because if you talk too much, too many objectives, they cannot focus. You have to understand this, I had my son, when I was trying to tell him something, he said, don't talk, text me. Because he's busy. He doesn't want to, people don't have this attention or patience anymore. So that's what you gotta address this. You want to have a single objective focus, you teach them and you call it micro-learning. So they want something short duration. So this is what they want. Short duration means something they can learn when they're on the train, or when they're on the bus, when they have a break, they can learn something. Short duration. Retention boosting and just in time. That means, if you have information overload, you lose them. Too many things is going to be distracting. But if you have to the point, it improves their motivation, their attention. So retention boosting will happen independent part of the whole. Even single objective focused learning unit create, it is a part of the whole thing, whole course, but independently they are done. Look and feel are the same. Independent of part of the whole means that learning environment that you're going to create, either a small unit of learning, but it's a part of the whole course. However, look and feel, navigation would be very similar, so it will be easy to follow. Don't give any surprise. All of a sudden, you have unit 1, you have this, unit 2, you have something else. So it's like a jumping from here to there. That's not good. Cost effective. They want something very cost effective. So what really then happened? You're just in time, you got a part of the whole, you got the cost effective. So all this together, this is what learners, even in the corporate world or in the government agencies or the universities, elementary, they want this. So these are the characteristics of new normal learning.
We've got 4 questions from the audience for you. Bring up the framework and then let's go to questions.
And then we'll make it open.
Okay.
So you mean, say e-learning. Okay, e-learning works. But actually, whatever works, if you're teaching something or making a training program, if you have a picture, a physical something, if you can blend them appropriately and most meaningfully, that is what is going to happen in the new normal. There's no other way. You have to blend. Whether you blend physical versus online, also you're going to blend within different things in the digital format. And there are metaverse coming and all different things are coming, but you need to learn how to blend. But blending, remember, what is the goal of the course? Goal is like a purpose. And then find out individual learning objectives. Some could be high cognitive, some could be low cognitive, but you have to list them all. If you miss one, it's going to be crooked. I lived in Chicago, I worked there, and the wind is so windy, you have an umbrella. If you don't hold it strong, you're going to break, you will get wet. Same way, if you design a course, if it's not well intended, well thought out with good objectives, if you miss one objective, that means it's broken. So you need to do a good task analysis, good needs analysis to identify what are the learning objectives you need. All objectives together and whether they can achieve the goal. So let's see. All right. In the new normal, I feel that if these are the characteristics the learners want, then they will ask the question, well, we know those are the characteristics, but how do we design? Now that I have given you that what the people want, these are the characteristics of learning. How do you design them? For that particular reason, I have my e-learning. You can see many of my books are based on my framework. Many books here. And my book has been translated into 23 languages. That's why this, what the requirement, they want single objective focus. They want, it should be working in any devices. They want cheap. They want something they can learn, not get bored, but remember it. So to create that, the best way, I believe, would be to focus on the guidelines. The guidelines is how I created these guidelines when I was in the University of Texas in 94, 95, web-based instruction came in 96. I was thinking, if I ever have to make a web-based instruction, how do I make this? In 95, nobody was using, any kind of learning. I had a friend, Mary Goldberg from Canada. He's the one who created the WebCT after the Blackboard long time later. So that nobody knew. So I, in the University of Texas, I had the first course on with the WebCT.
So you knew Maury Goldberg from WebCT, huh?
Yeah. I was giving a keynote in San Francisco, American Optometric Education, and Goldberg was a speaker. So he was asking me questions. I told him, I said, man, you got to think about pedagogy. You guys, he's a computer science guy,
Right.
Don't know much about the pedagogy.
I talked to him about that too. Yeah.
So he bought into this. So you see what we need to do. So I was thinking, if I have ever, after the book did so well, web-based instruction, 350 universities globally using the book, and the publishers did the highest used book in his 300 books that he published. But I could not sleep because people are sending me, show me an example of web-based instruction. Show me.
Exactly.
I said, where am I going to get the example? I didn't have an example. Nobody was using web. Not even maybe one or two corporations have websites on in 94. Nobody's using it. Then I thought, okay, what am I going to do? So I started thinking about, all right, if I send one of my students from University of Texas, Brownsville to Amazon forest, and my question is, how am I designing? How will I able to even design a course for him? So I've been thinking, he's going to ask a question. Hey, where is the library? He's going to ask me a question. Where's my teacher? He's going to ask me a question about how I'm going to use this computer. Where is the technical guy? So what I did, I have thought about all the myriad of questions that people can ask. And I've been giving keynote addresses in different places, different countries, even AIA and all this. So people are asking questions. So what I did, I said, okay, I put the learner at the center. Here's the learner, and I keep asking questions. Any question to do with learning and teaching, I see pedagogic. I cluster them. Anyone is asking about how about the infrastructure, how about the hardware, how about the software? That is technological. Interface design, like interface design is a big thing because in the interface design, what they see on the screen, that's how they react, they navigate. For example, thumbs up. When I was playing a cricket, I was a good athlete in Bangladesh, playing cricket, so someone will bolt me out, means I'm out. So they used to disregard me, the other fellow peers like this, So that means make you mad. So suppose you are in the United States and I'm in Bangladesh and Curt is teaching a class and he asked me a question, who is the president of the United States? I say, Biden. And he gives me thumbs up. And I say, man, this professor is making me mad. I get the answer right, he's challenging me. You see, because thumbs up, now American culture is all over, but those days. So thumbs up in this country is way to go, in other country may be challenging, you see? So I was thinking about, wow, if this guy, I'm creating a course in Amazon forest for this student, he could be from different countries. So I have to think about how I design, sign and symbol I use, interface design. Then comes the evaluation. In the evaluation, you see what happens in the classroom. I'm teaching, I bring a notebook, I give a test, and I evaluate. And the students at the end of the semester evaluate the professors. But I think evaluation would be such that we should assess the learners and then evaluate who did the graphics for the course, who did the instructional design, who is teaching. In most cases, you'll see, or many cases, you see someone have designed the course but taught by someone else. You see? So you need to capture a complete evaluation. So evaluation that includes learning, assessment of learners, and evaluation of everybody involved, from designers to the subject matter expert who were teaching it, etc. Then come management. What the management would be? If you come in the classroom, you bring your notebook, there is a chalkboard or whatever, your book and notebook, you show them. But online, wow, you have so many different links, different places. How do you manage them? You may have a Badrul Khan's website, which is badrulkhan.com. If I'm not still on earth, if someone doesn't keep it, so it will find the dead links. So if I'm gone, Bonk is still here on earth, he probably will link me if he doesn't know me that I'm gone. So he is still click on badrulkhan.com. He said that cannot find. So that's why it's a dead links. Do you follow what I'm saying? So that in the management part of our teaching, you just don't come with the notebook and start teaching. But in an online learning environment, you get all the resources. And if the resources are they're live or they're connected or they disappear, it's your responsibility. Next is the resource support. I was thinking, well, how about resource support means technical support, counseling support. The students, when I was at GW, George Washington University, I went to Aramco Oil Company in Saudi Arabia. I was giving a keynote there, and there, someone in the business office there, I was responding to students different questions in Prometheus, John was doing Prometheus, and which is a learning management system. So that means if some of them have problems, so they will go to technical support to connect me and learn from me. But if they don't have budget for technical support, then students will have problem. You need counseling support. I have students, their relative passed away, they could not submit their homework on time. So they need some help. I said, okay, you have granted extra week, but their mental condition is not very good those days. So the counselor could help. So that is the resource support. Ethical consideration. What does ethical you need? Ethical consideration, geographical diversity. If even in the United States, you have 6 time zones. If you are 8 o'clock morning at Washington, DC, one of your students in Hawaii, she or he has to wake up 4 in the morning maybe to synchronously chat with you if the course requires that. So that's called geographical diversity. Learner diversity, these are ethical consideration. Then plagiarism, legal issues, copyright issues. So one has to think about that. Institutional dimensions, the last dimension there, is deals with academic affairs, student services, administrative services, whether this online learning is legal or it is accredited, something like so. What I was thinking, I sent one of my students to Amazon Forest and keep thinking that what would he require? And that's how I came out with this framework.
And that framework's been with you for 3 decades, almost 3 decades now.
Yeah.
And it's something that carries, it's his a trademark. It could be his business card, in effect, his calling card. We would call that the calling card for Badrul Khan. He's been able to take that and use it in many different venues, many different educational sectors across different age groups. The technology changes, the programs might change, the emphasis, the topics, but the frameworks are still viable. The frameworks are still usable. When you're going to do strategic planning for some entity, some government sector that might work for military sector, some educational sector, you'll be able to use these frameworks to make a contribution to the committee you're on, to the strategic planning group that you might be on, to the thought papers you write. And Badrul was lucky Dr. Khan was lucky to come up with a framework early in his career. So he did a couple things by tapping into a topic of interest for the world of online or web-based instruction. Before most people, maybe before anyone had done it, it got him a platform to talk and experiment with his ideas, to share his ideas worldwide. So he talked about three things really. Be bold, right? Be bold in your approach. Don't, try something out. He said, try it out. It might not work. He said it might be, but you got to try it out, with maybe in a small group at a conference, maybe even a small special interest group, or share it in an after meeting at the end of the day at the conference. And then he said, you have to have some kind of a communication system, like of his framework, to talk to others about, to share your ideas and your representation, and to create a new way of speaking about things. Like IST, we need, LST might be a new way of speaking, a new approach, a new model, new method. We've got 4 questions for you, Badrul, and I want to start with the first. Whoever would like to ask and jump in on first. I know Christian probably has 3 questions. Christian, I'm gonna ask you not to go first because I know you're gonna want to go first. So someone other than Christian.
I do have 3 of the questions.
I know you would. Who else has something here? Yeah, go ahead, Bo.
Let's see here. So my question was, do you see a future in which personalized learning environments are as accessible and hold as much emphasis as personalized learning plans for students or individual learners?
What would happen is that, if students or employees, they're going to learn the way they want to learn. They want flexibility. I have a book called Flexible Learning. So if like at the university, they have like your program of study, like this 531 on all these courses. That is your curriculum. Baigulu says one thing. Curriculum means what to teach. Instruction means how to teach. What to teach, those are the curriculum designer. How to teach, we are the instruction designer. So we believe personalized learning, to make his learning individualized, it is going to be always the case. Now, maybe many of the instructional designers, they probably would try to, if they don't understand the diversity, they probably would create something that some people cannot personalize. Like, for example, I was talking about thumbs up. If you think about at GW, George Washington University, I gave my students homework. I said, sign and symbol cross-cultural communication. Study. Like in China, you see the red color is a very vibrant color, right? And in America, we use the red color for danger, right? Yep. So personalized education, study who is the person. If you cannot think through who is the person, think like me. When I did, if I want to create a web-based instruction course, I wanted to send my student to Amazon forest so that it's not close to a civilization. And then it was challenging for me to create a learning environment for him. So that's why I get all this thing. So yes, to answer your questions, it has to be very personalized. How well you can personalize it based on the needs assessment, needs analysis of the learners. Good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a follow-up, Bo?
No, I'll pass it off to somebody else here.
Okay, who wants to jump in second? Christian, go ahead.
Go ahead, Christian.
So I'll go with the lighter one first. Why did you choose an octagon for your framework?
That's a very good question. Actually, for AECT, Association of Education Communication Technology, in the conference, I presented, it had 7 sites in 1994, 96 times, 7 sites. So then in the room, Tom Reeves and his friends from Syracuse, there were one was teaching in Florida State, and another Florida State Indiana guy. They were all evaluation guys. They convinced me, Badrul, you put the evaluation within the pedagogy. They want it out because they are the evaluation people. Tom, you are here. He's on my Facebook. So they are the people who really, convinced me evaluation should be out of the framework. So it has 7 sides. So after that meeting, I thought about it and I make it 8 dimensions. One interesting thing after that, I went to Vatican. I was giving a talk in University of Rome, Italy. So I went to Vatican. Oh my gosh, I can see their octagon. I went to Ephesus in Turkey. In the old prehistoric, I see octagon sign. I went to Taj Mahal, they have octagon. I went to Medina, which is Saudi Arabia, I see octagon. And there is a guy, he's a professor from India. He wrote an article of astronomy, means the yoga. Yoga, the exercise, has eight branches of it. So he wrote an article on it and very least he sent that to me in the EdTech publication. Then I go to my wife, I say, why is 8? Everybody, I see 8. So in our belief, our faith, we believe that the heaven has 8 doors, So it meshed and that's what it was actually 7-sided. So it becomes 8-sided, But each side makes sense. One guy asked me, how are you gonna be, if someone has a psychological problem, I said, if it deals with ethical, then it's ethical consideration. So many people put me in a different kind of situation and questions, and I would be able to fit into this 8 category. If evaluation was not separated and stand out, it would be kind of difficult.
Christian, before you ask your second question, I just want to ask Dr. Khan, if Nashville was in 94, what year was ACT in Indianapolis? Was it 92 or 93?
You're asking me?
Yeah. Do you remember?
Actually, I did not go to Indianapolis.
That's where we met. We met in Indianapolis at ACT in 92 or 90. I can't remember. I think it was 93. Anyways, it came back there in 2016 or 16, I think. So
maybe PIDT also, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So Christian, your follow-up question.
So I'm going to go with the other one that's also not super philosophical. Feel free to answer the philosophical one if you want to. But so you're an extremely creative person. You've got all sorts of writing behind you that you've done and constantly working on frameworks and graphics and all sorts of things. What tools do you have around you, whether physical or digital, to kind of make sure that you're able to capture your creativity when you feel it come, when you have that idea? Like, how do you capture it?
Very good question. Coming from chemistry, and I had no computer background or something like this. So what I found, even in instructional technology program, they don't have enough programming for us to learn. But Dr. Ted Frick is a great professor. He is the one who introduced us so many different technology, So what I did, my strength is this: I knew all the software, like those days called Authorware, Toolbook. Now you have like before LMS, we have Storyline, we have Photoshop, we have Canvas, and then also we have Lectora. These are the authoring software. Storyline, Lectora, Captivate, for example. So I cannot know all these, but I learn. Sometimes I'm a greatest preloader in the world. I go to the YouTube and learn quickly, and I'm the greatest preloader for evaluation copy, I learn. So for example, I found my Photoshop doesn't work. I don't have license. So my wife told me, go to Pixlr, Pixlr, Pixlr. I use the Pixlr. And, I have one frame, I put things in there because every book I have another award-winning book was like on MOOCs. So I put the MOOCs inside, so I do this. So this is for the graduate students. It's a latent talent is not worth it unless expressed. So only way to express, you go to conferences, you write, but at the same time, you have to start creating your own materials. That is an added advantage, So I think it's a very good question. All my graduate student friend, you guys are my friend, So you try to see if you can know the tool. Without tool, you cannot express in digital world.
Go ahead, Sune.
My question may be not related to your topic, but actually I'm really interested in writing your books a lot. So I'm so interested in it. So how do you come up with ideas? So do you have any special ways or some, just got an idea and then how to, develop the, for a book? That's because I have some ideas, but it's really hard to write a book, right?
Yeah, but idea has to be genuine. For example, when I come to this country in 1991, so my mother passed away in 1984. I couldn't go back. And so what I said, why I have to come here? So I always look for an opportunity of thinking that why couldn't we make learning accessible, usable globally? And tool was missing. And here comes Tim Berners-Lee's contribution to, I think he should get Nobel Prize. He revolutionized the world with the tool of the web. And it allows a democratic way. So I told, when I gave him my web-based instruction book in Saudi Arabia, and we were living, I think Curt was in a different hotel, but we stay in all the kings or guest men. I was so lucky. Dr. Kamak, the host, put me next to his room, So in the same room, so I didn't have to take the test.
Oh, the truth comes out now.
I was not.
You got put up in a special room. Oh,
very special. That's all the kings or guests was there. So they gave me the special, I'm blessed. I didn't bribe, but he was in the same hotel. So, and it was interesting that I gave him the book. I said, because of you, I became one in the world. He said, how? Why? He said, you are the one who created the web. And I was able to coin the phrase web-based instruction. See? So you need connection. You have to be lucky. Sometimes you have to be lucky. You have to be blessed. You only can be blessed if you enough blessing you have that you have to be in contact with those people. Dr. Curt, I would not be blessed if I finished my undergraduate in chemistry and maybe just became a chemist. I would not even see him. So there are some contexts, there are some opportunities. It come to you. Some you can catch it and use it. Some you don't catch it, you don't get it. You think, my wife also a PhD, she's not catching like I am, but she's the great singer. She has millions of, she's a singer. That's all she cares. But she captured that because that's an opportunity, you see.
And dancer.
And
an award-winning dancer, I think, back in Bangladesh, right?
So she's a very good singer also. So what happens? So you see, Sumi, you're from Seoul?
No, from
China?
Stanford. So actually from, South Korea.
She's from Seoul originally, right?
Yeah. I've been to Korea University. When I was in a room where the president of Korea was there, I was sort of checking because I was giving for HRD conference there, but it was great. So what I'm saying, opportunities only can come to you if you do the good work. So when we had the opportunity to meet Sir Tim Berners-Lee, and I gave him the book, and he was with me all the time. I wanted to take him to Bangladesh. He said, he was asking me questions about the Nobel laureate and how I know him and all this. It's a good conversation. So I'm sure if I go to MIT someday, I stop by, maybe he will have a coffee with me. So that connections also. You see, maybe you should ask a question, how did Larry Lipsis, he passed away, like I said, Education Technology Magazine, founder, editor, how I know him? Well, I was at the AECT. We have an international division, AECT. So I was the president of that one. I have a good friend, Harvard University Dean, Dr. Bob Doyle. He was with that. He's the one who made me the president for the AECT, with the boat, obviously, AECT division. So Larry Lipsis was sitting in the same table as I was in the international auction, in a dinner. So I talked to him. So he said that if I want to write a book on, he knew that I was a student of Raigalut. Indiana is a well-known university. They know for IST. So he was talking with me. So he asked me, said, if I want to write a book on instruction technology, I said, no, but I got an idea. He said, what is it? I said, it's called web-based instruction. So he was like, what is that? I said, it's web-based instruction. Then I did some table of contents and jot down ideas, and I sent it to him. He said, oh, go for it. Then I started to reach out people. There's one of the reachers, Curt, Bonk. I think he came from, you are in Wisconsin. He did his PhD in Wisconsin, medicine, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he came to Indiana. He also participated in my book. So what happens that you must have ideas. You need to have some kind of click that someone is going to help you. So I gave it to Larry Lipsis, and he bought the idea. But there were a lot of, when I called out for papers, there are people all over the world. They're excited. They didn't know what web-based instruction means. This is 1995 I'm talking about. You see, book came in 96. So people were not sure. So some of them were like, those who don't like web-based, they didn't know enough. They were very against it. So I went through that time when people were not accepting this idea, but I was happy. You know why? If they appreciate, if they like your idea, then your idea is not very good. But if they don't like your idea, but you are who you are, you know that your idea is good, then they probably will, you will be successful. But you need to have your passion. If you go to badrulkhan.com, it says, when passion becomes profession, life is no longer boring. E-learning is my passion and profession. Go to badrulkhan.com. First thing you see, that's my statement. So my passion, my profession is the same, and I feel good about it.
He's saying be true to yourself. And he's also saying there are networks that help you build the momentum to get you to do a book. And those networks start small. They start as a treasurer of a special interest group. They start as a paper reviewer for a journal. You get to know the editors of the journal that way. They start as a book chapter contributor. Before you write a book, you write a chapter for someone else's book. And those networks build and grow over time, but also your ideas then, they build, and you have the initial idea, and then if you know an editor, you can run it by them, and you have to meet with people, and over a series of meetings, editors want to hear your ideas. You can have any crazy idea at a conference, you can track them down. They'll want to hear book ideas. They want to get, everyone under contract who has a good idea. They want to get them before someone else does. So you arrange lunches and afternoon meetings at a conference like AERA, and you write to the editor. You find out from your advisor who's a good editor from Rutledge, or who's a good editor from Sage or from Wiley, and then you write to them, say, I'll be at the AERA conference. Would you like to have lunch with me? So I put 4 book chapters I have in Badrul's books. The last one is a hot link is there that's scratching the 7-year itch. It's time to move on was my last one, the forward to one of his books. But the first one that I wrote for Badrul was for his 96, 97 book. I wrote on learner-centered web instruction for Howard, or thinking, teamwork, and apprenticeship. I wrote 10 activities for creative thinking, 10 for critical thinking, and 10 for cooperative learning. Before I taught my first online course, I had just done Blended. And I used the ideas from that chapter to create my first course in 1998 called we created the Smart Web. Charles Graham and I had a handbook of blended learning we later built, but then we had that chapter. I had that chapter. We built a website instead of an LMS. We built our own LMS. We built the tools within it. We called it the Smart Web, and I used the ideas from the chapter in Badrul's book to design my course for critical and creative thinking. It's based on my Saturday class, which some of you have had with me. We've asked a lot of questions. We've gone over time. We need to end now. Unfortunately, Badrul, does anyone have a final comment that they would like to make to get it recorded here? Would anyone like to say something as being a chair of a session? And then 30 years from now, you can talk about how you met Robert Gagne, or how you met Badrul Khan, or how you met Tim Berners, or whomever it is. You never know. You just don't know. But you do them. You within reason. you don't want to overwhelm yourself, but you volunteer for things within reason. And in this field is not that big. You can meet a lot of the big people within a couple of years. You can meet David Merrill. We've had David Merrill as a guest in this class a couple of times. He's the biggest name in instructional design in the country besides Charlie Regaluth, who was already mentioned. So
that was his mentor.
Charlie Regaluth's mentor, in fact.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And Charlie mentored you. So you're the grandson of David Merrill.
He was taking the notes. So you see, this is the very good thing. Should be a course like this, telling graduate students how to be, just not to be like a book into books, rather understanding how the world works, connections.
13, we're going to read from Dr. Khan. I think it's week 13 or week 12. I'm sorry, it's week 11. We're going to read from him in this framework. We're going to come back to on week 11. I want to thank Badrul Khan for coming in on short notice. This is very short notice, and we're really lucky to have him because the syllabus was just created, and he said, I want to come first week. I said, week 11, I want to come first week into your class. I want to be there with your students and meet them, and I'm an Indiana grad, I'm a Hoosier, I want to meet them. Plus, he's going to be out of country in a couple of months, so he's taken time out to be with us tonight. So give him a big round. Put 3 words in the chat window for Dr. Khan, or 3 or 4 words for him before you go, and thank him for participating. A few people had to go along the way because we've gone over tonight. But at this point, I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay, because I'm going to share this video to the learners globally.
Yeah.
So I hope I have your permission to show your face is there and you have no objections. Is that okay?
Make me look prettier, okay?
Yeah, you look pretty already. You look so young. You know, I see you the same way. 1900.
Magic pills. Okay, this
All right.
recording, week 1, August, whatever, 22nd. 2022, 22. This is ending officially right